into everything. Because basically I wanted to just bring out this here. What I have at the top of the screen here um is the Arch of Titus in color. This was I punched up, all right. We could bring one of these up. So you see the Arch of Titus in color. So you see everything, you know. These are the things that were taken away by these Edomites, all right, upon, them defeating us. Okay. There's the actual arch right there. Okay. Going somewhere else. All right, so Slag here, got thrown off, blue lights flashing. Going somewhere else though. Anyways, it says, and down below I have, which is what we're gonna get into. I guess we can read it now. This is on the screen. It says, the Arch of Titus in Rome. All right, or what I punched in was what was carried away in the Arch of Titus, so I can bring these things up. So it says a variety of spoils from the temple in Jerusalem, including menorah. All right, which let me pull this back up for you. All right, so it says including menorah, which you see right there, the golden candlestick, right, the menorah, a golden candelabrum that is the main focus of the relief. Clearly, you can see that it's the biggest, most yellow thing up there, which in actuality it was gold. All right, but of course, this is a painting, or this, you know, particular relief was painted. So of course, it was painted yellow. It says trumpets, all right, sacred gold trumpets, all right. Now they don't show that. In fact, they do, but what they have here is silver, right? Those trumpets are actually silver, but they were. It says here sacred gold trumpets, all right, but they painted it silver, so whatever with that. Table of showbread, which you see them carrying in the front here, all right. It just says table of showbread. Then the fire pans for removing ashes from the altar, all right. And which we're going to talk about all these different things that are mentioned here. It's according to the scriptures. It says the spoils were carried in a triumphal procession by Roman figures toward an arch monument, likely the Porta Triumphalis or another arch dedicated to the Flavian dynasty. The spoils were likely originally painted gold with a blue background. Right? So the Arch of Titus was raised by Domitian to honor Titus and Vespasian for the conquest of Jerusalem. The arch is believed to depict the triumphal procession and serve as a reminder of the city's ancient past. The Arch of Titus has been a symbol of defeat for the Jews for centuries. See, one thing they never tell you about when they talk about this history is how wasn't it 7 years Flavian dynasty, right? Beginning with their father Vespasian, so here we go. December 30, 39. Was Roman emperor from 79 to 84. Okay, I was right there. But I knew the history, so I guess I could have just read it. So I, but, it's okay. It's good to some history though. It says a member of the Flavian dynasty, Titus succeeded his father Vespasian upon his death. And then these are the same ones talked about in a second, or some of them. We season to talk about, all right? But their part of the season spoken about in second chapter 11, 12 also. So it says Vespasian upon his death becoming the first Roman emperor ever to succeed his biological father. I know that. So anyways, I'm going to get out of here and read this portion again. So it says, before becoming emperor, Titus gained renown as a military commander, serving under his father in Judea during the first Jewish-Roman war. And I'm going to pull it up in a second. It says the campaign came to a brief halt with the death of Emperor Nero in 68. Yeah, that sparked pretty much civil unrest. Okay, after Nero, right? I think he was suicide. Suicide. But anyways, after Nero, there was a lot of unrest, right? And so forth. Naturally, someone was going to come up in power. So it says, launching Vespasian's bid for the imperial power during the year of the four emperors, which we just talked about the history. And if you go to the wiki, you see everything that you see blue in the actual component. All right, pull it up. It says when Vespasian was declared emperor on the first emperor on July 1st, 69, Titus was left in. Now that's that up. It says when Vespasian was declared emperor on the 1st of July, 69. That's not right at all, right? Because he didn't come into power until December of 69, and he reigned up into 79. Because how then would the other emperors have reigned? Okay, so it says Titus was left in charge of ending the Jewish rebellion in 70, right? Because the history, us being, persecuted and hated by these other nations, it actually didn't just wasn't just something that failed in 70 AD. That was, coming up. I believe it started in like 66, okay? Because really, Euro and everything else, but I believe in 66 all the way up to 70 AD. All right, so it says he besieged and captured Jerusalem and destroyed the city and the second temple. For this achievement, Titus was awarded a triumph. The Arch of Titus commemorates his victory and still stands today. During his father's rule, Titus gained notoriety in Rome, serving as prefect of the Praetorian Guard and carrying on a controversial relationship with Jewish queen Berenice. Despite concerns over his character, Titus rose to great acclaim following the death of Vespasian on 23rd June 79, and was considered a good emperor by Suetonius and other contemporary historians. So, there's two things here because it mentions this first Jewish Roman War. I want to click on that because that's what I want to go into and pull that up. But then it also mentions, where is it here? Okay, yeah. So it says he besieged and captured Jerusalem, and I was hoping probably will pull up in the Jewish Roman War, but I want to see if he'll take us into exactly how things went down. If not, we still keep the history, solid and brief as possible. So it says the first Jewish Roman War, 60. Oh, there we go, 66. 66 to 74. Yep, right on money. A lot of y'all was shot. So yep, 66 leading up to 70, 70 AD, and even carry on after that. All right. So it says also known as the Great Jewish Revolt, the first Jewish revolt. Now, you know what? I gotta gather my books. Books are scattered. I have a book about the siege of Masada, and about the Jewish Roman War. So you know, maybe the spirit is on me because I read a lot. So maybe I'll pick up one of those books and read into them because I haven't picked those up in a while. I gotta find where the heck they are. So it says, but I have some books, like 3 books on these, what we're talking about here. So it says, yeah, also known as the Great Jewish Revolt, the first Jewish Revolt, the War of Destruction. I never heard it called the War of Destruction before. or the Jewish War, was the first of three major rebellions by the Jews against the Roman Empire. Fought in the province of Judea, it resulted in the destruction of Jerusalem, other cities and towns, displacement of its population, the appropriation of land, and the destruction of the Jewish temple. The apology. So here it says part of the Jewish Roman War, Judea province in the first century. It's kind of blurry. Pretty sure you can see it though a little bit. All right. It's the general area, Judea and Galilee in the first century. General area, so not super important. Like show you something crazy. So day 66 to 74, location Judea, Roman province, because the Romans were in power around this time, right? So in this history we're talking about here is all in this whole history known as the Pax Romana, which stands for Roman peace, right? So the Pax Romana was the time of Roman peace. This was the height of the empire, right? This is what we're experiencing in America right now, the height of the empire, because this is the peak where hey, it's time for it to go down now. How shall it go, right? And that's why they talk about expanding, doing this, doing that, changing its name, all this craziness because they think that the enterprise is going to be established in order to be established forevermore, and that's in their own thoughts as the scriptures say. So it says result of Roman victory. That's only because of what? Because of prophecy. It's meant for us to fall to these Edomites, man. Okay, prophecy. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Not because they were great. Prophecy. All right. uh, Destruction of Jerusalem and its temple, which the temple is always so important, right? That was our connection with the power, man, on this earth. Okay, through the priest, at one point even through Moses, then eventually everything shifted over to Yahweh, right? Significant, which we needed that because without that, hey, we just be done. But stand on point says significant portion of the Jewish population killed, enslaved, and displaced, and many towns and villages destroyed. And that's what I say we want to go into the history there. The extra scriptures, speaking about Yahweh, we're gonna have to find it. As a matter of fact, how about we just end on that? Okay, because I want to give these other scriptures as well, dealing with the things that were taken and so on and so forth. Why that's on the screen. It probably been on the screen the whole time, but I'm not sure. So let's get those. But we're going to read through some of this history first. Collapse of the Jewish elite and disappearance of the Sadducees and Essenes, because there were different sects: the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Essenes, and I'm not sure if the Essenes were a part of the Sanhedrin, but I know for sure the Sanhedrin was made up of Pharisees and Sadducees, both. Which Sadducees were just bug outs. If you go and research, they're straight bug outs, right? There's a lot of things according to scripture that they just didn't believe, right? So it says creation of Roman military camps and colonies, consolidation of Rome, development. So let's go down here. I want to get some of this down here. See if there's anything down here because I really don't know. Oh, what's this here? Okay, yeah, I do have those books of Josephus, which are not important to go into, but if ever I needed to, I can go pick up those. I have both volumes, 1 through 10, as well as 11 through 20. One of them is blue, one of them is orange. So you think I'm joking? Yeah, I got the real books. No, it's messy. According to Josephus, 1.1 million non-combatants died in Jerusalem. See, 1.1 million non-combatants. Let this sink in. 1.1 million non-combatants died in Jerusalem. Basically civilians, from men, women, and children, pretty sure. And 100,000 in Galilee, 97,000 enslaved. Where will they take you back to? Okay? Paraded around Rome, gladiators, all those different things. According to modern scholars, a significant portion of the population of Judea died due to battles, sieges, and famine. That was a major thing, that famine there, because he starved us out, man. With some estimates uh, suggesting up to 1/4 Tensions escalated as Governor Gessius Flores looted the temple treasury and massacred Jerusalem's residents, sparking an uprising which rebels seized the Roman garrison while pro-Roman officials fled. I want to put my button on the white so I can see it because sometimes the button will disappear. And when it does that, I mean it stop recording. So I'm gonna put it somewhere like in case it does disappear. Hopefully y'all see it. I wanted to give me more dimensions of Masada right there. He did to suppress the last pockets of Jewish resistance, culminating in the fall of Masada in 73 to 74. The war had profound consequences for the Jewish people. Many were killed, displaced, or sold into slavery. The loss of Jerusalem and the temple led to a reformulation of Jewish political and religious life. In Jewish history, these events marked the transition from the Second Temple period to the Rabbinic period. After the revolt, the sages, and they're trying to put this in scope as if those small hairs are actually people. They're not. The Phillips are not the people, but you get the point. You know the true people. From the point of view this history really comes from. After the revolt, the sages emerged as leading figures, establishing a rabbinic center in Yemen, which became a key episode in the development of rabbinic Judaism. Blah, blah, the victory bolstered the newly established Flavian dynasty, which commemorated its triumph through monumental constructions and coinage. The empire also of Vespasian struck in AD 71 to celebrate the victory in the Jewish revolt. The inscription on the reverse says Judah captain, meaning Judah conquered, right? So let's pull it up real quick. That's the back right there. Iodea captain, Judah conquered. Okay, and there's this fat-faced, big-headed Edomite right there, Vespasian. Roman denarius depicting Titus, circa 79, so around 79, give or take. The reverse commemorates his triumph in the Judean wars, representing a captive kneeling in front of trophy arms. So there's that funny looking face there. Look at that nasty beard, that naughty beard. All right, so yeah, so they're showing victory over this history, of defeating us. Arius of Vespasian. There's another coin. I believe, I'm not sure if that's copper or whatever, or bronze, or maybe it's even gold. Who knows? Judea captive coin issued by Agrippa II. Check that out. Look at that fat face, huge neck, Edomite. And can't really tell, something with wings on it. Almost look like the damn Statue of Liberty with wings. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just because it's not super clear. At the bottom of some coins appear the initials SC, which stand for Senatus Consulto by decree of the Senate. The emperor controlled gold and silver coins, so that probably was gold. Or it could have been copper alloy, but I believe it was probably gold. Who knows? It's not important. And copper alloy coins were controlled by the Senate to guarantee their value. Let's bounce back over here. The empire also imposed the Fiscus Judaicus, a punitive tax on all Jews. Yeah, that was a heavy thing, all right? Taxing the hell out of us, man, all right? We were getting fed up with that. And increased its military presence in the region. The Jewish-Roman wars reached their end in the Bar Kokhba revolt. Yeah, I got a book on that, okay? Which you see the date is much later, but I do have a book on that. Those were the three books mentioned in the First Jewish-Roman War, the Siege of Masada, and this right here where it just mentioned the Bar Kokhba revolt. I have books on all those histories there. The last major attempt to restore Jewish independence, which led to even more catastrophic consequences. Mentions the back of being removed there. I want to see what this is, though. Outbreak. In May 66 CE, ethnic violence erupted in Caesarea when local Jews tried to buy land beside their synagogue from its Greek owner. Despite the sound familiar to today, right? Hey, Jay can't do nothing, huh? but it's the curses. All right. It says, despite an offer well above his value, he refused and built workshops blocking synagogue access. When young Jews resisted, Florus backed the Greek. Prominent Jews then paid Florus 8 talents to halt construction, but he took the money and left for Sebaste, allowing work to continue. The next day, on Shabbat or Shabbath, the Sabbath basically, a Greek desecrated the synagogue entrance by sacrificing a bird on a chamber pot, sparking violence between the communities. All right. It says local cavalry failed to intervene, and Jews who complained to Florus were arrested. Shortly after, Florus arrived in Jerusalem and seized 17 talents from the temple treasury, claiming governmental purposes. Protests followed, with crowds mocking Florus by passing around a basket to collect alms. After the Sanhedrin, we just mentioned those, right? After the Sanhedrin refused to surrender the offenders, Florus ordered his troops to sack the upper agora, the marketplace, where they whipped, crucified, and killed over 3,600 people, including wealthy Jews, Roman citizens of the Equestrian Order, who were legally exempt from such punishment. His troops exceeded their orders, covering a larger area as well as looting and taking prisoners. Berenice, the daughter of Agrippa I, who was visiting the city, pleaded for restraint, but, according to Josephus, was threatened by legionnaires. A second massacre occurred when, and I'm pretty sure she wasn't so sympathetic. One of those Herods, were having, they were set up as pretty much governors, kings, all right, over Judea. So, this is their pretty much the territory they were set up over. So, of course, you want, peace and you don't want to tear up your own, like you're tearing up your own house, to say that, so to speak, all right. Not saying, like he just owned everything, but I'm saying like, a random person when go in their house, they're mad, they're gonna tear up their own house, right? So I'm pretty sure it wasn't out of sympathy. But anyways, because these were Edomites, those Herods, as I mentioned before. Lost my place. Yep. Who was visiting the city, pleaded for restraint, but according to Josephus, was threatened by legionnaires. A second massacre occurred when Jews from the city went to greet two cohorts arriving from Caesarea. Florus's troops responded to the greeting with silence. When some Jews reacted angrily, the soldiers charged, causing a stampede that killed many as they tried to reach the Antonia fortress. Florus, attempting to reach the fortress himself, was blocked by the angry population, who also who severed access between the temple and the Antonia by who also severed access between the temple and the Antonia by destroying the porticos between them. Eventually, he fled the city, leaving only one cohort behind as a garrison. All right. Scale model reconstruction of the Temple Mount during the 1st century CE, part of the Holy Land model Jerusalem, with the second temple in the center of Antonia Fortress to the upper right. And this is what Herod reconstructed. Where you get today, those rats, humping against Herod's wall. Okay, it mentions King Agrippa II, the Jewish vassal king of Chalcis, heard from Alexander to call unrest. That's just more of the history there. And there's a lot, you can get a lot from the wiki. Sometimes the wiki will go off on things. So you just have to be studied on certain matters. Going back into Titus's reign, uh, as Emperor Titus is best known, um, it says for completing the Colosseum and for his generosity in relieving the suffering caused by two disasters. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius in AD 79 and a fire in Rome in 80. After barely 2 years in office, Titus died of a fever on the 13th of September 81. He was defiled by the Roman Senate and succeeded by his younger brother Domitian. Yeah, the history of Mount Vesuvius happened right at the beginning of his reign. Those little, pretty much 2 years or whatever, they were very short-lived for Titus. All right. So let me see here. I don't want to miss anything. So yeah, I think we got everything from there because we clicked on the Jewish from a war, right? Yep. We seized and captured Jerusalem. Siege of Jerusalem 70 CE. I believe this leads us to the same thing we just read there, or does it? Yeah, I believe that's the cover of one of those books that I have right there. That's what they have on the cover. In the winter of 69-70 CE, this is beautiful because it goes into the history of what I mentioned in the scriptures, right? Because Yahushua said, pray that your flight be not in winter, right? It says Titus led a force of approximately 50,000 troops, including 4 legions and auxiliary forces, into Judea. By spring, this army encircled Jerusalem, whose population has swelled with Passover pilgrims and refugees from across the province. That's the key. Whose population has swelled with Passover pilgrims, because there were 3 times a year that you had to report back to Jerusalem, mainly the men, but I'm pretty sure men, women, and children probably came. But the men most definitely have to be there. All right. So you had all kinds of Israelites coming over from all different places, because we were scattered all over in different places, different provinces, different lands, living even amongst heathens everywhere. All right. But you had to report back to Jerusalem those 3 times a year. And this happened to be one of those times, right, where this went down. So beautiful says, whose population has swelled with Passover pilgrims and refugees from across the province. The city, already weakened by infighting among rival factions, led by John of Gischala, Simon Bar Giora, and Eleazar ben Simon, who had seized control after the collapse of the moderate rebel government, was cut off from supplies, leaving its inhabitants to suffer from starvation and disease. Despite strong resistance from the defenders, the Romans broke through the city's walls, forcing the defenders into the temple precincts. See, they make it sound like it was just, oh, we're going to do this and then just overtake. No, man. There's a lot that was going on. More of that same history there. What does this say? A year later, the Roman victory was celebrated with a grand triumph from Rome, during which hundreds of captives were paraded along, which we mentioned that, right? Paraded alongside the spoils of the temple, including the menorah, which is what you see still up here at top, right? So it says, monumental structures such as the still standing Arch of Titus were erected in the city to commemorate the conquest. You see? But look, someone to get pissed off at us when we speak of something like Purim, right? Victory over our enemies. All right. The feast of dedication, victory over our enemies, as well as rededication of the temple. But here, they erected things in their victory over us, and it's okay in the history, right? But when we see, that's the what the scriptures say. The joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment, man. It says the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple marked a major turning point in Jewish history, carrying profound consequences that reshaped Jewish culture, religion, and identity. With the temple's destruction, Jewish worship adapted, giving rise to rabbinic Judaism and more, garbage is trying to put in there. So you can read more of this on yourself, for yourself. So it gives you all of this, the background, siege preparations. There's a bust of Titus 69-70, same thing there. You see, by the winter of 69-70, Titus has arrived from Alexandria and established Caesarea as his main base. His forces included legions previously commanded by Vespasian. All right, so on and so forth. More of that there. Up that and drop this. Battle for Jerusalem's outer walls. There's a map there. So you can look into that yourself. You see, on the onset of the week-long Passover festival, all right, because you have the Passover, then the Feast of Unleavened Bread, that whole week following, the Jews halted their attacks, and the Romans took advantage of the pause to move their besieging forces closer to the city's walls. Meanwhile, on the first night of the holiday, the holy day, John's forces used the opening of the temple's inner courtyard gates, which were meant for worshippers attending the festival, as cover to infiltrate the temple's inner courtyards, subduing the zealots and bringing them under his control. Some of them fled to hiding places beneath the Temple Mount. And it just continues on, speaking of the history there, the fighting and everything else, all right? And it's been a while since I really read into it. Last time was actually when I went into that book. But we were speaking on out of that book, speaking on the word divus, divus, pretty much is meaning divine, where these Roman emperors would declare themselves and their families divine. All right, but that's the last time I really went into those books and that history there. But it's good to kind of refresh certain things from time to time. Let's do this. As a matter of fact, if I can just leave that there, and because it was mentioned what the things that were carried out, all right, which we see on the screen here, and we're about to change the screen, so we're gonna pull this up, and so yeah, all these things that were taken away. So let's go to Exodus chapter 25. All right. I guess we put the Strongs just in case. So we want to get just a few scriptures here. All right. So Exodus 25. All right, there you go. Golden lampstand. All right, basically the menorah. So we're gonna get 35 through to the end, or 40 or whatever. And thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold. Of beaten work shall the candlestick be made. His shaft and his branches, his bowls, his knops, and his flowers shall be the same. So this is what you were seeing there on that relief, because that was a depiction of what the the menorah looked like that was taken, right? Because these are the Lord's things, all right? It says, you have taken my goodly pleasant things, okay? Let's see if I can get that real quick. Goodly pleasant things, okay? Because that's what happened, all right? They took our goodly pleasant things, which really the Lord's goodly pleasant things. Joel 3 and 5, because ye have taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. These things belong to the Lord, but he doesn't have some kind of earthly or heavenly use for them. I mean, in a sense, there's an earthly use for them, but I mean him directly. So they're placed where? In the temple, all right, for certain services and things of that nature, and all, everything that we've spoken about as of late, okay? So yeah, there you go. Beautiful to water Yahabashah for that one, right? You have taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. And here's another one, as a matter of fact. Let's get that real quick. Throw that one in there, right? Here it is right there. Psalms 137. All right. You Edomites, man. Okay, you got a lot to pay for, man. Remember, oh yeah, how the children of Edom, the Edomites, the so-called white people of the earth, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof. All right. Destroy them, their cities, but especially destroy their temples. Get those temples, man. Or the temple. All right. Tear that down. All right. O daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. And the scriptures talk about giving them back double. So this will come back on their heads. All right. It's like me moving that button. I just keep trying to, move it around the screen. All right, so let's back up again. So yeah, going into the which we can read all of it, don't necessarily have to, but I mean, we're just going to read, so we got it anyways here. So it says, and 6 branches shall come out of the sides of it, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side. So we can get some, we got some of the history there, the basic, points of the history, but we're also going to get these scriptures dealing with that whole Arch of Titus. So it says, 3 bowls made like unto almonds with a knot and a flower in one branch, and 3 bowls made like almonds in the other branch with a knot and a flower. So in the 6 branches that come out of the candlestick. And the candlestick shall be 4 bowls made like unto almonds with their knops and their flowers. And there shall be a knot under 2 branches of the same, and a knot under 2 branches of the same, and a knot under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches that proceed out of the candlestick, making 7 in total. Because the one in the middle would be fixated on the base, and then the other 6 will come out from either side, 3 and 3 from that one in the middle, right? Making 7. So it says their knops, and 7 is the number of completion, right? Their knops and their branches shall be of the same. All it shall be one beaten work of pure gold. And thou shalt make the 7 lamps thereof, and they shall light the lamps thereof, that they may give light over against it. And the tongs thereof and the snuff dishes thereof shall be of pure gold. All right, going to the other vessels there. All right. So it says, of talent of a pure gold shall he make it. and with all these vessels, and look that thou make them after their pattern, which will show thee in the mounts, right? Certain specifications that have to be made there. Now here's another Exodus. I'm trying to get through these because I know there's quite a bit. All right. So Exodus chapter, everything's happening. Hold on, bear with me. So Exodus chapter 37, start at verse 17. Same thing here. All right. All the way down to what? 1, 22, 23. Yep. Down to verse 24. All right. So that's the same thing there. So we don't have to read that. I just mentioned it because because as we continue, because we're going through the book of Exodus right now, as we continue moving forward, you're going to get quite a few things that are repeated in certain chapters. They're going to be shorter in those chapters, but it's basically everything that was mentioned before. All right, so those chapters should be very quick as we move through those. What else was the table of showbread, right? So let's go over here to staying in Exodus 25. Let's go and get here 23, table of showbread, right? It says, thou shalt also make a table of shittim wood. 2 cubits shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, and make thereto a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt make unto it a border of an handbreadth round about. And thou shalt make a golden crown to the border thereof round about. And thou shalt make for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings in the 4 corners that are on the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border shall the rings be for places of the staves to bear the table. And thou shalt make the staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, that the table may be borne with them. And thou shalt make the dishes thereof, and spoons thereof, and covers thereof, and bowls thereof, to cover withal. Of pure gold shalt thou make them. All right, and thou shalt set upon the table shewbread before me always. So you get these different things here. So you get an idea of what was carried out. And there were many more other treasures, that were gifted into the temple. All right, but these were some of the main things that were taken, which were some of the important things dealing with us and our history in the temple and things of that nature. Let's jump over here. Leviticus 24. We just got a few verses here. It says the lamp and the bread of the sanctuary. All right, Leviticus 24. We want to start at verse 5, get 5 through 8. So it says, and thou shalt take fine flour and bake 12 cakes thereof. 2 tenth deals shall be in 1 cake. And thou shalt set them in 2 rows, 6 on a row. And Lord, will you be edified by this? Because that's what it's about, edification. It says, and thou shalt set them in 2 rows, 6 on a row, upon the pure table before Yahweh. And thou shalt put pure frankincense upon each row, that it may be on the bread for a memorial, even an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. Every Sabbath he shall set it in order before Yahweh continually, being taken from the children of Israel by an everlasting covenant. All right. So disruption of the temple in any kind of way, nothing has to be even defiled. If a heathen steps inside the temple, defiled. They don't have to touch anything and pull no curtains down. You ain't got to step on the altar or nothing. You are just a heathen being inside the temple, defiled, man. Even amongst the Israelites, there was only certain individuals that could go in certain places, man. So a heathen just stepping inside the temple. All right. So let's go over here to Numbers 10, right? 1 through 10. And see, it says the silver trumpets. So yeah, so the Google said gold, but we mentioned silver before, and the Google said gold. And so going right back to the painting, they were painted silver because here it is in the scriptures, right? So I'm showing you all these things. We're laying out all these things, in the scripture, what was taken from out of the temple, right? In the Arch of Titus, or the relief is the Arch of Titus, but these were the things that were actually taken out of the temple. So it says the silver trumpets, and Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, make the 2 trumpets of silver. And how many did we see there? 2 silver trumpets, right? They were long silver trumpets, and we saw that, all right, in the relief. Okay, so make the 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shalt thou make them, that thou mayest use them for the calling of the. I mean, man, come on, man. Hold on, man. Can you imagine what these items look like, man? The lamp, because we've all seen gold before, right? So imagine the menorah, all gold. The trumpets, all come. I mean, all silver, man. Both shining, right? In the lights. Come on, man. Hey, hey, man, these devils, man. Hey, it's coming, man. It's coming to them, though. All we gotta do is wait. Zephaniah 3, wait ye upon me to the day that I rise up to pray. We are waiting patiently, man. Okay? Slack me. Let me get back to it. Make thee 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shalt thou make them, that thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly and for the journeying of the camps. All right? It says, and when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And if, excuse me, and if they blow but with one trumpet, then the princes, which are my screen's cracked, let me move it. All right, which are heads of the thousands of Israel, shall gather themselves unto. And this is what brothers talk about, right? When we mention this truth, okay? With the trumpet blowing an uncertain sound, all right, us giving the proper warning versus these other camps who worried about debates, all right, talking about all kinds of craziness, but they ain't talking about nothing, that's prophetic, that's right in our faces. That these things that are at the door, talking about everything else, all right. Alazar, okay, he got everything to say now, all right. He's going at the brothers of GMS, but prophecy is happening, and niggas ain't said nothing. Slack it, slip, but come on, man, because it kind of angers you, man. All right, like what are you talking about? What are you really? Well, I guess you're not a prophet of doom, right? So you got all this time to talk about everything else. Guys out there making rap songs, doing all this worldly stuff, right? But when it's time to actually prophesy, you don't hear any prophecies being spoken about. Man, it says, and if they blow, but with one trumpet, then the princes, which are heads of the thousands of Israel, shall gather themselves unto thee. When you blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east part shall go forward. When you blow an alarm the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey. They shall blow an alarm for their journeys. But when the congregation is to be gathered together, ye shall blow, but ye shall not sound an alarm. And the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall blow with the trumpets. And what does it say in Joel 2? All right, blow ye the trumpets, all right? Call a solemn assembly, right? So on and so forth. Isaiah 58 and 1, right? Blow ye the trumpets in Zion. As a matter of fact, I believe at Joel 2, at the top of that chapter, okay, it mentions a similar thing. Okay, blowing the trumpet and warning Zion, all right, warning the Israelites, all right, about the times we're living in. And now, because brothers go into different topics, but we also are talking about the current events, because that's what matters the most. All right, these prophecies, man. And the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations. And if you go to war in your land, and we're in a time of war, just mentioning that, but we're going to stay on point, against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before Yahweh your power, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginnings of your months, ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings, and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your power. I am Yahweh, your power. All right. So let's also move over here to this. Okay. Exodus 27. All right. The point is in 3. We're going to read down through probably 8. So it says the bronze altar. All right. And we're just going to read this. Some extra kind of here. We're going to get these last 2, and then we're going to close off with what I mentioned. What we don't have, we'll go and find it in either Matthew 24 or Luke 21, where Yahweh Shah prophesied about this whole time period of 70 AD, Titus and all that stuff, right? So it says, Exodus 27:1. And thou shalt make an altar of shittim wood, 5 cubits long and 5 cubits broad. The altar shall be foursquare, and the height thereof shall be 3 cubits. And thou shalt make the horns of it upon the 4 corners thereof. His horns shall be of the same, and thou shalt overlay it with brass. And thou shalt make his pans to receive his ashes, and his shovels, and his basins, and his flesh hooks, and his fire pans. All right. So all these things they took out, right? All the vessels thereof thou shalt make of brass. And let's pull up the fire pans. See if we can. Fire holder, censer, fire pan, snuff dish. There were all kinds of things in the temple, man. Golden things, silver things, and so on and so forth. To catch snuff from candles or lamps. All right, so let's just get it on the screen, if we can. Okay, so simple dish right there. I hope we can get something more pinpoint, but it's okay. You get the point. As a matter of fact, let's go back real quick and get fire pan. See if they will give us more direct. Okay, so yeah, restaurants and stuff. So yeah, it's all good. You get the general idea. Let's go back. Let's finish this off. So it says, and that was the key verse right there. And thou shalt make his pans to receive his ashes, and his shovels, and his basins, and his flesh hooks, and his fire pans, all the vessels thereof thou shalt make of brass. Okay, it says, and thou shalt make for it a grate of network of brass, and upon the net shalt thou make 4 brazen rings in the 4 corners thereof, and thou shalt put it under the compass of the altar beneath, that the net may be even to the midst of the altar, right? So spreading all the way across, right? And thou shalt make staves for the altar, staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with brass. And the staves shall be put into the rings, and the staves shall be upon the 2 sides of the altar to bear it. Hollow with board shalt thou make it, as it was shewed thee in the mount, so shall they make it. All right, we get something else here before we go over there and dig up those extra scriptures. So Numbers chapter 4. What does it say here? Duties of the Kohathites, right? Numbers chapter 4, verse 6. It says, and shall put therein, we're going to start at verse 6, read down to 16. And shall put thereon the covering of badger skins, and shall spread over it a cloth wholly of blue, and shall put in the staves thereof. And upon the table of shewbread they shall spread a cloth of blue, and put thereon the dishes, and the spoons and the bowls, and covers to cover withal, and the continual bread shall be thereon. And they shall spread upon them a cloth of scarlet, and cover the same with a covering of badger skins, and shall put in the staves thereof. And they shall take a cloth of blue, and cover the candlestick of the light, and his lamps, and his tongs, and his snuff dishes, and all the oil vessels thereof, wherewith they minister unto it. So we had gold, we had silver, we had brass, bronze, or whatever. All types of things in the temple, man. Okay? All types of treasures. And they shall put it, and some of those weren't just regular treasures. These were for the temple, right? The menorah, all these different things, all right? The table, showbread, all these things we read about. Because of course it was all for the temple, but I mean like certain purposes, like extra special, care and purposes for the temple. And upon the golden altar they shall spread a cloth of blue, and cover it with a covering of badger skins, and shall put to the staves thereof. And they shall take all the instruments of ministry wherewith they minister in the sanctuary, and put them in a cloth of blue, and cover them with a covering of badger skins, and shall put them on a bar. And they shall take away the ashes from the altar, and spread a purple cloth thereon. And they shall put upon it all the vessels thereof, wherewith they minister about it, even the censers, the flesh hooks, and the shovels, and the basins, all the vessels of the altar. And they shall spread upon it a covering of badger skins, and put to the staves of it. And when Aaron and his sons have made an end of covering the sanctuary, and all the vessels of the sanctuary, as the camp is set to forward, after that the sons of Kohath shall come to bear it, but they shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. These things are the burden of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation. So, in case you were lost what we were reading, this is how things will be pretty much packed up and moved, right? Because we were moving from place to place, right? So it says, into the office of Eleazar the son of Aaron the high priest pertaineth the oil for the light, and the sweet incense, and the daily meat offering, and the anointing oil, and the oversight of all the tabernacle, and all that therein is in the sanctuary, and in the vessels thereof. All right, and we're gonna stop right there. As a matter of fact, I want to see if I can. Okay, I saw some lights behind me. Just making sure. Okay, back across that way is a dead end, but there's no buildings there, so I mean, I'm not worried about no one coming this way. It's possible to drive this way unless you about to run up the curb and hit the fence and everything. It's just I saw lights though. I'm gonna try to find if I can. As a matter of fact, here it is right there. Can we? Okay, so that's the actual one, but we can leave it on the screen though. That one. I wanted the one that was in color back. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We still ticking. Yeah, we good. We good. So let's do this. As a matter of fact, I want to read that Joel, and that was hidden. Was it Joel 3? Okay, as we move forward. All right, Joel 3 and 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head. In other words, the Lord said, there is no hope for you, all right? There's nothing you can do or say or offer that's going to turn them in my wrath from you, all right? And that's why the scriptures say it is a righteous thing to recompense those that trouble you. Verse 5, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their borders. But I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah has spoken it. All right, beautiful. So let's see if we can dig this up. Let's just jump over to Matthew 24. Probably should grab Luke 21 because we often go into Matthew 24. As a matter of fact, Luke 21 might even be better. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Hold on, I want to get this off the screen though. Bear with me. It might actually be in Luke 21. Okay, yeah. As a matter of fact, you know what we'll do? Come on. Get this off. Okay. Let me see here. Yep. So we're going to have to jump over to Luke 21. All right, like I said. So let me see. Or is it Luke? It's either 21 or 17. We'll find it. We'll find it. Because I don't want to look over it, right? Because Yahweh Shah prophesied about this time period here. And as a matter of fact, I probably should have just punched up that portion there where it says flee into Judea. But we'll find it. Bear with me. We got this far. Bear with me. Here we go. Luke 21 and 20. Okay, so it was there. I probably looked over it. Yep, like I thought so. In both of them, right? Matthew 24, 15 through 28. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in winter. And did we not read that? It says the winter of 69 to 70. All right. Excuse me. 70 AD. So it lines up perfectly, man, what Yahushua prophesied about. But pray ye that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. All right. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And that is not talking about Jacob's trouble. That is talking about the time period of 70 AD. And no, 70 AD is not the time period of Jacob's trouble. That has not happened yet. We're here to that point now. Jacob's trouble, that is. 70 AD already happened. All right. So let's drop that. Beautiful. I knew it was in both chapters, man. I looked over it in Matthew, though. We got it right here in Luke. So it says, and when ye shall see, Luke 21:20, Jerusalem compassed with armies. Who is these armies? Pretty much Romans, all right? Edomites, okay? Titus in particular. Then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains. That's why it was so important to talk about the times of the year that we had to report to Jerusalem. And Titus used that to his advantage, all right? Which we never got that history from the wiki, all right? Some extra history done on that. But yeah, he used that to his advantage, all right? And barricaded us in, starved out and everything and all the different, things that went down. So it says, let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains. So this was bound to happen by prophecy. Because we had, though Yahweh prophesied about it, it was bound by prophecy for it to happen the way that it happened. For all these Israelites to flock to Jerusalem and then be besieged and not allowed to leave. So it says, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. All right. So when the full battle went down, if they could flee away, which happened, and we were scattered into different parts. The bulk of us fled into what is known today as Africa. All right. So all the history there should make sense to you. Okay. So it says, which are in the midst of it, depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. You see? But we had to come. It was the Passover week, okay? It says, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. And matter of fact, because we can prove this was Yahushua. It's all red letter there, you see? This was our Lord prophesying about 70 AD. So you can't say this history isn't real. But all you hear these propeller hats talk about is some freaking Holocaust, man. You see? What about this? Oh, I guess you don't believe in the Messiah. So this ain't your history anyways, but whatever. You get the point I'm making. All right. This is a history that is our history, us Israelites, that our Lord prophesied about that actually happened. And the Wikipedia just backed us up on it, which we didn't need that, but it was for sake of the lesson. Getting some historical background as well as scriptural background on this, point of topic, which was the Arch of Titus, man. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe, destruction, right, unto them that are with child. Woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck. All right, so those women with, or not even with women, just people, Israelites in general, those with children and women who are pregnant, because it says, or not pregnant, but it says to them that give suck. So with little babies that are still, sucking on their mama's teats, all right, still on her breast milk, right? So it says, in those days, it says, for there shall be great distress in the land and wrath upon this people. When you go further into the history, all right, you have women, that were eating their children, all right, and things of that nature. All these kinds of things happen to us, right? And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations scattered, you see. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And what do you have now today? When you look on the map, you have heathens fighting over our land, and our land still being trodden down. And even us as a people, the true Jerusalem, the people, we're also trodden down. They shall wear out the saints of the Most High, but into the times of the Gentiles. So all these nations have had their chance to rule on this earth. And by way of prophecy, the last heathens, the last Gentiles to be in rulership are actually now in rulership, which are the Edomites, the so-called white people sending back to the banking families. You see? So this is a very heavy point of our history there. All right? And I'm pretty sure there's a lot more we could have gotten to. I wanted to keep it as basic as possible, but also as clear as possible. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Lord willing, you will edify. To next time, y'all, Shalom, I'm going to say, Shalom, Lord will you edify. Shalom.